What we're going to do is, like always, I've always opened up every meeting with our overdose and our suicides. And for the month of April, we had 16 deaths. I have not got the suicides in yet, but as you can see, these numbers are going up. They're not going down. First of all, it's good to see everybody, their faces. It's good to finally be back to some normalcy at a least bit. Still got a ways to go, but this is a start. Let me start off by approving our minutes, and I'll call on Vice Chair Pettis-Reed.
Mr. Chairman, I have read over the minutes. I do have a hard copy of them if anyone would like to see those. And I did not find anything that did stand out, so I'll make the motion that they be approved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. I want to do this and a roll call, so it's going to be together. So, gentlemen, you answer twice. Yes and here.
Commissioner Kush,
Yes, and here.
Commissioner Stevens,
Yes, here.
Commissioner McAdoo,
Yes, here.
Commissioner Rutherford,
Yes, here.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes, here.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes, and here.
and Chairman Harris.
Yes and here. Let's move on. I'm going to skip number 2 and go to number 3. I want to announce 3 vacancies for the CCRC board. Greg Lyles, Doug Beaudry, Ann Olston, terms to expire July 21. And also want to announce insurance committee vacancy, county employee representative, Alan Farley, term to expire July 21. I'd like to announce 2 vacancies for the IDB board and the health education and facilities board, Edwin Davenport and Tara McDougall, terms to expire August 21. I want to go back up to 2. We have a judicial commissioner appointment of Jessica Schofield. And the reason I pass this is I want to show the support of this committee, and I'm asking for a motion to accept this and just to give her recognition. So I have a motion.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Second. This will be a voice vote. Come on, you ready?
Commissioner Stevens,
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo,
Yes.
Commissioner Rutherford,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Commissioner Kush,
Yes.
Chairman Harris.
Yes. Next on our agenda is a sexual abuse policy for county insurance. I'm going to let Sonia come up and address this.
So our insurance provider for the county's insurance provider was looking at some of our policies, and he had requested that, and this is David Patterson, requested that the county general and the Board of Education add in a sexual abuse policy. We have a sexual harassment policy already, but the sexual abuse, because we do work with children, and not only in the schools, but also like in juvenile detention and our health department and these others. So they asked us to create this policy. I drafted the policy. I sent it to our county attorney, Nick Christensen, for him to review. He made some recommendations. I made those adjustments, and it's presented before you now to add to our policy handbook.
All right, gentlemen. We are asking for a motion to put this into our policy handbook. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Johnson, second.
Second.
Commissioner Kush. Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo,
Yes.
Commissioner Rutherford,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Commissioner Kush,
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens,
Yes.
Chairman Harris.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, next on our agenda is the human resource budget. You have all got copies in front of you. Also like to let you know that the figure in yellow on the second page is the difference in her budget from last year. It comes in $9,540. This does not include salaries. This is an exception to that. So if we have any questions for Ms. Stevenson on her budget. Floor is open.
So based on the budget, less salaries, it's $9,500 less.
Less than last year.
And what are salaries?
We haven't determined that
Hadn't determined
yet.
yet.
The Budget committee will be, I'll make recommendations at the next full commission meeting as to if we're going to give salary increases and to what percentage. We do know the school board is requesting 5%, Mr. Chairman. So I feel that our employees over the course of the past year during the pandemic, they ran into danger. They put on their mask. They were all deemed essential. They put on their cloaks and did everything possible. So I'll probably be making that same request to the budget committee, 5%. But we'll wait and see. We're still working on numbers of what to expect. So don't hold me to the 5% at this point, but we'll look at that.
So 5% is the ceiling.
That's correct.
Okay. So
Well,
that number
really,
number could change.
Really, the schools are getting 5% plus or 2% step, right?
They asked for 5%.
Yeah. We'll wait and see
Sonia, I
how
think
they-
you did a great job.
She did.
I mean, this is
I went back to all the departments and asked them to cut, and then, of course, we see the result of that. We'll see more next week of what departments went in and cut from their first volley at bringing it to us, and some of them cut big.
Didn't we do that last year where there's a request made from you and every department?
Yes, sir.
Fell in line and went either across board or below?
Yeah, and then
Now we're,
COVID hit.
yeah.
And so we've had a year of no taxes. The hotel motel tax bottomed out. Of course, nobody's staying in hotels, restaurants. We saw a huge dip. We did see an increase in our online sales tax. So we'll try to show that balance when we get to the budget committee next week.
The hard part is we still have to pay people and all the other expenses.
That's correct.
We're a growing county,
Yes, sir.
but because of COVID, things have gone south and still,
Yeah, we've been
you gotta
fortunate.
put money into it.
Yeah,
We've been fortunate
we've
on
been-
sales tax.
We've been fortunate on that. We've been fortunate on several grants that we've been able to take care of some non-recurring one-time expenditures through grants that otherwise I'm pulling out of their request this year because there's another grant coming once they sine die day after tomorrow. So not as large as, I think they cut this grant in half, but we're still getting about 1.7 million in this grant. So we'll be able to add some of these things back in, but it won't make their budgets look as bad.
Right.
Pardon?
Good job, Sonia.
You want me to
Yes.
answer your question?
Yeah.
So labor law, if you go into the break room over here, on the counter, there is a stand. So every year in January, we have to print out all the new updated labor law posters by the federal and state government. And typically, in the past, we have put them on a bulletin board. And I saw Laura Brink's stand in her office that puts them all in there nice,
That's smart.
nice and neat. And so in the break room, it would be better than having it on a bulletin board where they can sit and look at it, and then we can take them in and out. So I am requesting to order to put one in every break room.
Okay. I know what you're talking about now, but when I was looking at that, I was just trying to.
I didn't know what else to
So
call
it
them.
has to be displayed. She's done a nice job. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, I know
great
that
thought.
I always had to display those when I was working Farm Bureau, the print room and all these different things, so. Thank
So
you, that,
everybody goes to the break room, but not everybody passes the bulletin board. So if you've got it right there on the counter, more people will see
and
it.
you'll sit there and read it too. You've educated me tonight, appreciate it.
Sonia, how many employees do we have currently?
Total county,
Yes.
about 1,200 full-time, another 400 part-time, and then we have maybe 100 volunteers.
And how many positions do we have open right now?
Oh my goodness, I didn't bring that with me.
You don't have to.
Ballpark it.
Yeah, ballpark.
Probably. Maybe 30 countywide,
30?
maybe. That may be high, but I'm trying to think of the sheriff's office and,
That's not education.
yeah, it's not the Board of Education, that's just county general, so that would just be, you know, like all the administrative offices and public safety offices and public health. But, I mean, we've done a good job filling in a lot of our positions, so 30 may be high, it may not be that high. I'm sorry, I wish I'd have known how to brought that for you
Well, I
tonight.
mean, you wouldn't have known. Any questions? Ms. Stevens? If not, I need a motion to approve her budget, send it to budget, finance.
Move to approve.
Second.
Rutherford. Reed. Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Commissioner Kush.
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens.
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo.
Yes.
Commissioner Rutherford.
Yes.
Chairman Harris.
Yes. Gentlemen, before you on your iPad is a list of litigation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
If you have any questions on this, floor is open.
I got a question.
Go ahead. Commissioner McIntyre. Mr.
Only-
Chairman.
It's probably directed to our county attorney. On the Candy Crush case that we settled. I know I read in the Daily News Journal that the state paid for the DA and the state paid for the assistant DA. I think it was under my understanding that the assistant DA was going to take care of his own, but he didn't, correct?
I'm not privy to the exact relationship there between the state's lawyers and the assistant district attorney's lawyers. There were separate lawyers, so the AG's office represented District Attorney James Jones, and then there was an outside firm that represented the ADA. In terms of whether the ADA paid his own money or not as part of that overall payment by the state to the plaintiffs, I don't know the answer to that. I'm not privy to that.
Well, what I'm getting at, if the state picked up theirs, why can't we file a petition to the state to pick up our approximately $246,000 we paid out?
Oh, as to the state?
Right.
Well, without getting into too many of the details, the negotiation for that settlement did involve a back and forth between the county and the state and the town of Smyrna. And that we were all kind of part of that, because the only way that the agreement would likely get done is if all three defendants participated, and at least from my perspective and the county's perspective, the state paying the lion's share of that. And so I think that what you just described was part and parcel of the agreement between the three defendants leading up to the ultimate settlement.
Okay, we still got a portion of that that's open, though, right?
There is one claimant that did not participate in the settlement, and out of all the other plaintiffs, and so his case is still ongoing, and the other defendants are still involved in that case as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I want to hear about item number 6, which is, and I don't know if I can pronounce her name right, Jacqueline Lecano versus Rutherford County EMS. I'd like you to elaborate on that.
Yes, sir. So that's a personal injury lawsuit that's been filed by a former employee of Rutherford County. She alleges that she was a passenger in an EMS vehicle that was driven by obviously another county employee. That vehicle was struck at an intersection. The ambulance was struck at an intersection by another driver, and allegedly Miss Iacono was injured in that case. She has filed a lawsuit against the county and also the named employee who was driving. She also named as defendants the car that hit us had actually caused the accident. Our office has worked to dismiss the driver employee, and so now all that remains is the county. And I am working that case. It is, at this point, at least from my perspective, the county didn't do anything wrong. We didn't cause the accident. We were going through a green light, and the other driver ran a red light and hit us and caused the accident. And so really the fight is between that driver and Miss Iacono, but the county is still involved in the lawsuit, and we're in the discovery phase right now.
Okay. Anybody else?
I just want to thank Nick for putting dates. I think I asked you several months ago and never said anything about it. I just want to thank you because I'm interested. You know, do we have a 5-year-old case going on or a last year case? And so I like a list that has a date on it when it was filed.
And just a comment to that, and you're welcome. Just a comment to that COVID pushed a lot of these back. And frankly, looking at it, even notwithstanding COVID, the cases on there, they're not terribly old. And there's a recognition, and these commissioners and the mayor and all the people in this room have been doing this a long time and interact with our office enough to know that sometimes cases just take a minute. We do our best to push them. But with that being said, COVID really did put a 1-year stall on everything. And if you talk to Miss Harrell, your circuit court clerk, she'll probably tell you that they're starting to get back in the saddle again on these cases. And so we're hopeful to have more in-person hearings and not really have all of these COVID restrictions moving forward.
All right. Any questions? Let's move on. Next on the agenda is development tax first reading. I had wrote a letter to every one of y'all, and I'd like to read it. Chairman Cush brought this up in our last full commission, and he said he wasn't popping the champagne yet. So
Never assume.
the governor has signed the bill at HB 1172. And if y'all don't mind, I'd like to read this letter I'm going to send to y'all because I want to give some recognition in the steering committee. Under the dedicated leadership of Mayor Ketron and collective efforts from the Infrastructure Select Committee, Public Works Committee, and the Steering Committee in search for viable revenue options for Rutherford County will now follow the dollar per square foot method of the residential development tax. I want to express my sincere thanks to Mayor Ketron and our legislative delegates for their work on the recent passing of Bill SB 1262 and HB 1172, which the governor signed. The new legislation will go into effect March of 2022. The bill will generate up to $4 million in revenue going directly to Rutherford County schools. I would also like to thank Candy Roberts with the Middle Tennessee Association of Realtors, the Tennessee Realtors Association, and the Tennessee Home Builders Association for their insight and support. This collective effort is just one example of how our work here in Rutherford County makes a difference. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Is there any other business?
Are we through?
No, I'm sorry. Thank you, Rachel. I need a motion for the first read.
So moved.
Second.
I have a first and a second.
All right.
And go ahead.
Commissioner Stevens,
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Commissioner Cush,
Yes.
Chairman Harris.
Yes.
First reading, motion passes.
All right, gentlemen. Any other business? Commissioner Rather?
Go for it.
Oh, wait a
A
minute.
quick question.
Quick, I'll
Do
go
we- do
Commissioner
we-
Cush.
Do we know who is departing IDB?
Yes, it was
Those two are listed. Nobody
Edwin
was,
Davenport and Tara Madu.
Oh, I thought
Yes.
they may be on
Health
the
and Ed.
next committee. Yeah, okay.
they're on both. Those kind of are running together from what I could tell on our list.
Okay. Do you know if either one
Not
can
at
they
this time.
reapply?
Yes, they can reapply,
reapply, okay,
but not at this time.
okay,
And Sumner Bolin has inquired, so.
thank you. Michael?
Let me clarify on that first before I get to Commissioner Rather. So there's 2 vacancies open on IDB board. They don't get all 4 positions. I mean, there's 4 positions actually open, 2 on health and 2 on the IDB board. Even though these 2 are, right now they have both of them, doesn't necessarily mean that they're automatically in there for these.
Right.
That good? Everybody good? All right, other business. Commissioner Rather.
All right, a couple of months ago, Commissioner Stevens, based on some audit reports about the mayor's campaign, asked for the mayor's resignation. I stood up and I've had, I won't say many, but several calls wondering why I was defending the mayor. Well, the more I thought about it, in a way I was, but what I was more defending was a man's innocence until proven guilty. And that's, Dick, I think as an attorney, you will say that's pretty much the foundation of our judicial criminal system. Not that he did anything criminal, but still a man's innocent until proven guilty. And I made a comment that if he found to do anything wrong, I would be the first one to stand up and ask for his resignation. Well, the results came in. If you want to call it results, they were results, but there were some, the more I've read and the little bit I've listened to, there was still a kind of a question mark. And I think the registry actually had a question mark. Because if you recall, the mayor's office was raided, if not more than just your office, and a lot of records were confiscated. And I don't know if I want to say this in public, but I'll go ahead and do it. If an auditor came in and investigated my business and wanted to know where's the screwdriver I bought at Home Depot, where's the receipt, I don't know if I could find it or not. It's probably there, but I don't know. But anyway, I couldn't imagine being raided and everything taken out. So anyway, there are other circumstances. Here's where I'm going with this whole thing. I want to stand behind what I said I was going to do. And I've done it. One-on-one. I didn't ask for his resignation. I asked him to take a leave of absence until August. We are just 3 months away or so from nominating and electing a chairman. In the meantime, the only reason I asked for leave of absence instead of resignation, in the meantime, we've got a landfill fiasco, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I don't understand how, I said this in the last meeting, how we can go from the last couple of years, we're closing down and we spend hundreds and hundreds of hours and dollars, probably several more $100, probably thousands, if not tens of thousands. All of a sudden, landfill can be expanded. Landfill's a huge issue. We've got Davidson County that has just declared that Davidson County is going to be the highest paid teachers in the state. So where are our teachers going? We're in the middle of budgets. We've got a jail that is going to need some money in the next couple of years. A bunch of money. So, as a commissioner, as a county commissioner, who is here for, and this isn't a campaign speech, I don't even know if I'm running again. As a county commissioner, looking out for the county, we got some very serious, big issues ahead of us that are going to have to be addressed. And so far, in the last 3 years, I've been a commissioner and the mayor's been the mayor. What happened back years ago when he was a senator, even when he was running for election, how does that play into his job as mayor and commissioner in the last 3 years I've been a commissioner? How does that play into it? What happened back then with, I don't know where this money went, I don't know where that money went. He don't have a checkbook. He can't sign a check and just spend whatever he wants to with the county. Like I said earlier, we have a finance department. We decide what gets spent. Am I wrong?
You're correct.
We all approve that. We decide what gets spent. In light of what's all going on with the sheriff's department, education, I think Rutherford County is #1 in the state with fatalities this year. I talked to the sheriff about that today. It's a county commission issue and a budget issue, just like everything else. So we got landfill, we got sheriff's office, we got education, we got a budget year, we got it coming out of the pandemic, which is gonna take probably another year to really go beyond it. This is the wrong time to cause division. So the mayor and I talked. I made a request. It was well, wasn't gonna happen. So I thought about bringing it here to the full commission. We've got, and I quoted this to him, I think, and a few other people, from the White House to the outhouse in this country, we have division. Whether it be racial, political, whatever, it's division, and it sickens me. Sonia and I went to school together. We had some stuff back then, but we didn't have this. Mayor, this is unprecedented in my lifetime, the division. I do not, with all Rutherford County has to deal with right now, in the coming years, we do not need to be divisive. We've got to be one as a commission. Although there's different philosophies or opinions or votes, we've got to be together and support whatever that vote is. We just don't need this right now. It's the wrong time. And that comes from my heart. That doesn't come from anywhere else. If anybody that sees this on TV or whatever says I'm political or I'm the mayor's guy or whatever, sorry, you don't know me well enough. This comes from my heart. We are a body of people to make Rutherford County better and to help the citizens as much as we possibly can. And I don't want this to come to a vote. It's done in my mind. The discussion took place like I promised, like I said it would take place. In August, we're going to vote for another chairman, and every commissioner can decide what they want to vote. This next year, the Rutherford County citizens can decide who they want for a mayor. And until then, we take care of Rutherford County. And this issue needs to be left alone. It's done, it's over. We've had the discussion. He's going to stay the chairman unless somebody else decides to bring it up in a vote. He's going to stay the chairman. I did what I said I was going to do. And I just think we need to focus on much, much more important things. So much more important than what he's dealt with personally. I know it was campaign stuff, but he's, in my opinion, has done a good job as mayor, has done a good job. I mean, you think about it, what does he do as chairman? Calls meeting to order, keeps it in order. goes through the agenda, and adjourns a meeting. I can do that. That's what a chairman does. We can't kick him out as mayor. I think we need to leave it alone. And in August, the whole commission can decide who they want as chairman, and next year the citizens can decide who they want as mayor. And until then, it's done in my opinion, and those are my words.
Has anybody got anything to say on that? Anybody? Therefore I will. I'm going to speak very personal. I am friends with the mayor. I think he's done a good job. I see him working 12-hour days. I see him taking phone calls on weekends. And Commissioner Rather, I'm trying to follow you, but I'm kind of lost. Because I think what I heard you say is you don't think he's done anything wrong, but you wanted to bring it up again. So I'm confused. Are you trying to slander the mayor, or are you trying to say I'm not? I'm trying to figure out, because I can't figure out. I know what you just said. It sounded like you are exonerating him, like more or less your opinion of him is to keep him as chairman and mayor. Am I correct in that?
You may answer that question.
Well, yeah. I guess let's go let's go one question then another one. My first question is, based on the decisions that were brought down by the state auditors,
Right.
he was found to have some discrepancies, and therefore he has to pay a fine.
Right.
To my understanding, is there any criminal charges being filed on him?
No, I don't think any of this had to do with criminal.
Okay, then let's go
Okay.
past that then.
Okay.
Has he done anything based on that audit that keeps him from performing his duties?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so therefore you brought this up. Why? That's my question.
Why did I bring it up?
Yeah.
Because when Commissioner Stevens asked for his resignation a couple months ago, I stood up and defended a man's right to be presumed innocent until found guilty. Because our society, if somebody says something, you're guilty, and you got to prove your innocence. I hate that. I despise that with a passion. That's what I defended. The registry, the show cause hearing hadn't even happened yet. You and I had that discussion. When he's found guilty, I'll be the first one to stand up and ask for his resignation. That's what I said at the couple county commission meetings ago. So he and I did talk. After the registry met, the fines went way down. There were even questions amongst people on the registry because documents and records had been confiscated. There were even questions during the hearing where it was kind of defended that he can't prove where that money is because the records disappeared or they haven't been returned to him. So my thing is he innocent or guilty? Well, he was fined. Okay? Some of that's still been worked on. Am I correct?
What's that?
The records.
That's correct.
Okay. So, in the meantime, I'm not saying innocent or guilty. That's the registry. That's other people. I'm not saying innocent or guilty. I'm saying this man, as chairman of this commission, as long as I've been a commissioner, has done his job and he's done it well. I am saying, as a man and commissioner, that since I've been a commissioner, this man has done a good job as mayor. I've driven through this square at before 7 o'clock in the morning, and his truck's here. He's here. And here it is, 6 o'clock at night, he's here. How long do you have for lunch today? 30 minutes? Okay. He does his job. What I'm saying is, what happened in 2014,
17,
17,
16, 17.
16, 17? What bearing does that have on 2021? While we're having budgets that we're working on, a solid waste issue, we got school issue, education issues with school buildings and all that. We got a sheriff's office that's probably gonna come after some money with the jail because it's needs some work. There are a lot of issues that we need to be working on right now. And this is May, I think it's May 1st, 2nd, 3rd. I'm a day behind. This is May of 2021. The commission has an opportunity in August. We're gonna nominate and elect a new chairman. Let the commission decide then. I don't wanna ask for, I've already talked to him about this. I've asked. And it doesn't make sense for him to resign in May when we're gonna elect a chairman in August. The commission can decide then, and the citizens can decide next year who they want as a mayor. As of now, yes, the registry fined him because there were some discrepancies, some oversight, and in light of events or circumstances, man, I hadn't walked a mile in his shoes, and I don't want to, because I know what he's been through. I'm not defending him, I'm just stating the facts. I hadn't walked in a mile in that man's shoes, and I'm not going to sit here and judge him. I can judge him based on what he's been as a mayor and a chairman for the last 3 years. We need to wait. We've got too many more important things. I'm not sitting here defending him. I'm not sitting here saying he's innocent or guilty. I think the jury's still out, so to speak. My thing is, I don't want this to get to where we're all divided in a very critical time in our term. We need to be together and run this county and do what's best for Rutherford County. Did that answer it?
Yeah, and I gave you time to speak. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
I'll let you say what you want to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Chairman McAdoo.
I got a couple of questions. You keep saying resignation. Is this a resignation from the mayor position or a resignation from the chairman position? Or clarify that for me.
Well, we can't ask the mayor to resign as mayor.
We can.
Well, just like Robert Arnold, we could ask him to resign as sheriff. The citizens put him in here. They got to take him out. It's like you and I. We were elected by the people. The only people that put us here, and the only people that can take us out. The worst we can do is
true.
ask him to resign as chairman, and that's what he and I talked
Okay,
about.
so you're talking about chairmanship.
Just chairman.
Okay.
But see, that
You
is
keep saying we shouldn't bring this up. We shouldn't say this, but the only one bringing it up is you. That's what I don't understand.
You wanna know why I brought it up? I brought it up because I made a comment. I don't regret saying it. I made a comment what I would do.
You made
And
that comment to the Board of Commissioners,
Yes,
not to this committee.
right.
So why didn't you wait and bring it up on the floor of the commissioners?
I think it would maybe cause more divisiveness if I brought it up and you got 20 other people in there going back and forth.
Well, I don't miss meetings, and I was there when you brought it up, and I didn't see nothing else from the other commissioners,
Okay, well.
except they listen.
I brought it up because I said what I would do in that commission meeting, and I didn't want it, and I'll bring it up in the commission meeting if you want me to. I'm not scared of that. If you want me to do that,
Commissioner,
I'll be
if I
glad to
can
do it.
interrupt, I don't think that you're scared of anything.
No,
but I think you are.
I am snake.
I think you are slandering the mayor. And the reason I say that is because I agree with Commissioner McAdoo. Why even bring it up at all? I mean, you had a personal one-on-one meeting, am I correct on that? I mean, that's what you said. I'm trying to say, I don't know anything. Did you have a one-on-one meeting with the mayor?
Sure.
Okay, so he gave you an answer and you gave a question and then you're satisfied with that.
Mm-hmm.
So then why bring it up if it's not a personal slander?
Because
That's how I'm seeing it, is you're slandering the mayor.
Well, how you see it and how I see it, how everybody else sees it, that's up to y'all. I made a comment in public and I'm going back and backing up my comment in public and explaining I did what I said I was gonna do and I don't want it brought up again. Okay, people can vote in August and they can vote next year. And if, again, we don't all have to agree, but
I see where he's coming from.
it is what it is. I ask the hard questions and say things that sometimes need to be said. Sometimes I say things that I shouldn't say. But I'm not backing up from this. I said what I said at the commission meeting, and I brought it up in front of steering instead of 20 other commissioners that I'm actually backing up, supporting this man to remain as chairman. That's the goal. That's my belief.
So,
I'm backing him up. This shouldn't be brought up again. If you want me to bring it up in front of the 21 commissioners, be more than happy to.
so you're apologizing to the mayor for bringing it up?
No. Did you know I was bringing it up? Okay. He knew before I got in here I was
So
bringing
you're
it
not
up.
apologizing for bringing it up?
Tonight?
Right.
Absolutely not. Do you think that I didn't talk to him before I brought it up tonight?
Well, I don't
No,
know.
I think we're just questioning why bring it up at all is what I don't speak for Chairman McAdoo.
Let's move on.
Mr. Chairman?
Well, I had to I know we want to move on, but I think everybody in this commission, the thing is chairman, I've been your chairman for going on 2 years. I have always let people speak. I have always allowed people to speak. When this thing between, forgive me, Robert, but when Robert and the mayor got into it, I let Robert speak, I let you speak. That's how it should be. I think there's personal feelings involved here, and I think that I agree with you, we're divided. It's an understatement how divided we are. But I think that the mayor, just constantly bringing this up every time, one of the things that I am so proud of, and Mike Cush knows how proud I am of this $1 per square foot. That's 3 years of making. And I'll tell you, one of the things that nobody knows is we were in this meeting, in this room, with the real estate, Candy and all them, and he hit it. He hit it out of the park. He turned somebody that for 2 years we could never get him to do anything, and he hit it out of the park. Now, that doesn't say Mayor gets all the credit for all this. It's just a whole lot of people. Mike Cush, a lot of people gets credit for this. But I've seen the man work, and I know he cares. I know he cares. Now, there's personal feelings right here. There's some animosity. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to end it. I'm going to be done with it. I'm going to let you speak, Paul. And then, Mayor, you can speak if you want to. If you don't want to speak, that's fine too. But then we're going to end it. If anybody else don't want to speak, all right, Paul Johnson, go ahead. First of all, let me back up. Commissioner Johnson, go ahead.
The bottom line is, the actions before he became mayor is not even relevant to his actions and the job that he has done as chairman. We need, one thing I agree with you on is we need to be positive. We need to accent the positive and forget about the negative of the progress that has been made in this county for the last 3 years.
Amen.
So, the mayor, he's chairman of the commission, okay? And as mayor, period, he can't do squat without the approval of the commission. So that's it in a nutshell. That back there is not even relevant to his performance as mayor.
Amen.
I mean, I believe in putting the KISS method to it, keeping it simple, stupid, and that's simply the way it is. And I'm through.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a lot to say other than when I was before the registry, one of the board members from West Tennessee made a comment because my records were probably more scrutinized than anybody in the time that they have served on that committee, 16, 17 years. His comment was that we know what we know and we know what we don't know because of some things just can't be reproduced. Because of the late filings, I accepted those responsibilities for everything that happened. My style of leadership is I'm always looking forward to what the goal is before us to try to accomplish that for the citizens of our community, whether it was in the Senate or whether it's here. Always made every effort that I possibly could to reach those goals. Probably my weakness was that I didn't look in the rearview mirror and see that things that weren't being accomplished should have been as far as those records are concerned. However, moving forward from the day that I took this office as mayor, I have done everything that I possibly could to keep every commissioner as informed of me as transparent as possible. So I think it's time that we move forward. We got great things happening in this community, great things, challenges in front of us, but we can do it as a team, and that's what I've tried to create over the last 2.5 years. And I'm excited about the next 2.5 years, and maybe next year in 22. I'll continue serving the public.
All right. Commissioner Reed?
I said I wasn't going to say anything, but I am going to say something. I think what Commissioner Rather is saying right now is we just close that door, we move on to work as a commission, and we work as a commission in a positive effort to work together to accomplish these goals that the mayor has just said right here that we go forward with. I have to look back at what we walked into last March and what this commission walked into, and every one of us did. Something that none of us had ever been in before, unless some of us lived back in 1918 or 1917 when we had the Spanish flu. I don't know about you, Commissioner McAdoo.
Close, Commissioner, close.
I feel like I'm right there with you. But we did. We walked into that, and I think we did. We had a yeoman's job to do there. And I spent some nights up here with the mayor and with our directors of public safety and this sort of thing. We sat there and we not only dealt with Rutherford County, we dealt with Middle Tennessee. And Middle Tennessee was not just looking at what they were doing, they were watching what we were doing, because we were doing some things nobody else was doing. And a lot of it was done due to the fact of the leadership of the mayor, as well as the outstanding work of our sheriff, of our chief of the fire department, of our ambulance crew, and all of that. And it was all being done that way. And we did some things that a lot of people criticized. But they were things that we had to do due to the fact that we were getting figures out of CDC that you wouldn't believe. In fact, for weeks there, I went home and I had some dreams that you wouldn't believe, because we were told some figures that you just wouldn't believe of what could happen to Rutherford County and what they were expecting to happen to us. But we went through that. We worked all through that, and we've come now into this point right now where we're trying to deal with a budget that, you know, back at that time, and as we've come through that year, we didn't know if we'd have a budget or what would be left of a budget. And then we had all these other things that were piling on to that. You know, we felt like, I felt like the center of the football team that just got the ball and everybody piled on him. And I can imagine what the mayor felt like. I know back during the last time we got ready to run, I had some people ask me, won't you run for mayor? And I told them I've seen the job. And nobody walks in that door and congratulates you, what a great job you're doing. There's something wrong every time somebody walks through that door. But now we're at to a point where I'll have to say this, Commissioner Rutherford, we move on. We move on. And that's what I think we look at and see where we go from there. We've got some things we've got to look at. We're looking at an education budget here. Does it fit where we put it? I mean, do we put a round peg in a square hole, or how do we fit all of this? We've worked with education and moving these things. We got one of the best. That's why these people are driving here to live here. But we also have other infrastructure that has to be looked at too. And we've got to do with all these things. So what I'm saying is, yeah, we combined, we work together, and we work together as a team. And you, Coach, you know what a team's all about. And I think that's just what I want to say and what we got to do here.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Go ahead.
one last comment. Why did I bring it up? There are citizens that are looking at the commission, as Commissioner Stevens said a couple months ago. They're wanting to know what we are gonna do. I'm settling that tonight, not in front of the whole commission. Again, I can do that. The citizens, if we do nothing and nothing's ever said about, it's like it's swept under the rug. It's interpreted as the good old boy swept under the rug kind of stuff. So the citizens, nobody else in this room may have ever gotten a phone call, but I've had at least 12 wanting to know what we're gonna do. And I know you've had some, right? So I bring it up because I want the public to know it has been handled, and here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna move forward. We're gonna press on because we have more important things, other issues that affect the entire county, all the citizens. We gotta move on. And in August, the commission may change their mind and vote however they want to. And next year, the citizens, if they don't want him as mayor, that's the time that things speak their voice. I want it public because of people that are expecting our body to do something. So my point is, I did something. I did what I said I was going to do. I just did it one-on-one. And I want it public that for the sake of Rutherford County, this needs to die. We need to move on with all the issues that I've already brought up that are huge, huge. I get more phone calls. I've got more phone calls about that landfill. Oh my gosh, wearing me out. My battery dies on my phone. We've got to move on, and this needs to be put to bed. And the citizens, I've made it public within a few people. Yes, the conversation is taking place, and here's what we're going to do as a steering committee, which is steering governmental and legislative committee, correct? So I think we're all, and this is nothing personal, I have nothing personal against the man. I loved his dad. I worked with his dad quite often. My dad and he started the Exchange Club here in town. It's nothing personal. It's me being a commissioner. So we've got to move forward and put this to rest. And the public can know, because somebody's going to pick up on it, word's going to get out. The discussion's taking place. The decision's been made. We're moving on. We got more fish to fry than what's right here. So I'm not. That's my goal. It's nothing personal. I have nothing against the man at all.
Okay. Is there any other business?
Move we adjourn.
So moved.
This meeting is adjourned.